Welcome to You Can Cook Anything with Bob and JP. I'm JP, and today I've got another Lebanese family favorite recipe. If you like meat and potatoes, you're really going to like this recipe. It's called Kafta Batata, and it's a meat and potatoes recipe. It's got little meatballs or meatloafs and potatoes in a kind of Lebanese stew using allspice and cinnamon. I think if you try it, you'll really like it. Let's get started. Okay, first to make this, you're going to need a recipe, and here it is right out of my notebook. I'm going to hold it up so you can, well, the light is kind of in the way. Maybe you can pause the video and check. You know what? Never mind. I'll just place a link in the description. So first we're going to put together a seasoned breadcrumb mix, and that is going to involve 2 teaspoons of dried parsley in a bowl off camera, measured like my grandmother taught me. Remember to move the bowl on camera. To that we're going to add some allspice and some cinnamon, and then some salt and freshly ground pepper. Amounts are in the recipe. Okay, we're going to mix that up a little bit, and then add our breadcrumbs. Mix it up really well to distribute the spices. We're going to be adding this breadcrumb mixture to 2 pounds of ground beef. I've doubled the beef in the recipe because my family goes straight for those little meat patties. Mix in the breadcrumbs thoroughly by hand until fully incorporated. You want to get the spices and breadcrumbs really distributed throughout the beef. Okay, then you're going to heat a pot. We're going to make individual little patties that we're going to put at the bottom of the pot to brown. These patties are really about the size of a large meatball, but then flattened out so that they get more contact with the heated pot's surface on the bottom. Okay, we're going to try to get all of these browned. You might not be able to fit all of them in the bottom of the pot at once. As you can see, take up quite a bit of room because you've spread them out. That allows you to get a lot of browned flavor from the contact with the pot. Make the rest of the patties and then just leave them in the bowl until you have room for them in the pot. Okay. Then you're gonna scrape them off the bottom as they brown and flip them over. They actually brown pretty quick. Okay, I'm gonna move it to the stove here and get to the veggie portion. Got 4 carrots here, cutting them lengthwise and then into about 3 or 4 inch sticks. Okay, next we're going to take 4 potatoes and slice them into thick slices. I had small potatoes, so I actually used more than 4. This is what the meat looks like after searing while I'm cutting the potatoes. Alright, heat some olive oil in a pan. And when that's shimmering, you're going to put the potatoes in the pan. The point is to brown the potatoes at least a little bit so that you get more flavor out of them. Okay, once they've got a little bit of color on one side, it's okay to flip them over. And then add them to the pot with the meat. Shake it around. and it goes back on the stove. Meanwhile, I'm going to chop up some onions, roughly, it's about quarters for me, and then throw them in the pan to fry up. Not pictured, I also added the carrots to the pot. Okay, so keep stirring these onions so that they brown. As you can see, the carrots and the potatoes and the meat are playing nice in the pot while I fry up the last of these onions. Okay, once the onions are sufficiently browned to your liking, add them to the pot. And mix that up. It's already starting to look good. Next ingredient, tomato paste. Because I doubled the meat, I actually put more tomato paste. I used almost an entire can. Garlic, necessary for nearly every recipe. You're going to want to kind of bruise the garlic, just crush it a little bit before adding it to the pot so that it releases some of its flavor. Now you're going to add water just to cover the meat and potatoes and everything. And then a spice mixture of allspice, cinnamon, salt, and pepper for the broth. Mix that up good. You got to kind of get that tomato paste incorporated into the water. Now it's time to bring it to a boil on the stove, and then once it's boiling, reduce the flame so that it simmers on low for an hour to an hour and a half. You want the potatoes and the carrots to be cooked through and relatively soft. Once it's done, this is what it looks like. Potatoes have broken down a little bit and added to the broth. It's got a little bit of thickness to it, a little bit of body, and the flavors have spread throughout the dish. It's very aromatic at this point. There you have it, Kafta Batata. I like to eat it with some bread. Well, I have a confession to make. That's the first time I've made that recipe. Usually a family member makes it for me, my mom or my wife, and they do a better job than I do, but I'm just getting started. If you give it a try, I think you'll like it too. The family enjoyed eating it for dinner, and so I think I'm encouraged to keep trying to make this. If you enjoyed this video and you want to see more like it, hit the like button, consider hitting the subscribe button, and hit that little bell notification icon so that you get notified when another video gets posted. Remember what Bob and I always like to say, you can cook anything.